Hey, I'm Callum, also known as Northern Dice, and I'm going to be giving you an infoboxing of Barenpark, a polyomino tile laying game for 2 to 4 players. Okay, so this is Barenpark, set up for a 2-player game. It is for 2 to 4 players, and the only difference with having more players is that you have more components out. They have 3 different types of tiles that you can place into your park, and you place them based on what you do on your turn. So we'll just go through the tiles to kick off with. You've got your green area tiles, you've got your bare houses, and you've got your enclosures. Green area tiles have absolutely 0 value, but help you pack your park out and fill it up. They also allow you to cover certain symbols on your park. The houses tiles are worth points, and if you have a look, they are all themed a little bit differently, but also shaped differently and worth incremental points. So these are the first tiles that are on the top, and they're all worth 6. The next one underneath is worth 4 in the 2-player game, and the final one would be worth 2. And when they are gone, they are gone. It is a case of you pick them up and put them down, and you get points for that. Points are totted up at the end, so don't worry about trying to keep track in the midst, but it does sometimes become a bit of a bun fight towards the end trying to pick up those final tiles. It's more methodical than that when you actually think about it. It's less thematic and more about patterns. You want to fill your park the best you can, whilst also striving to fit objectives in if you're playing with objectives, which I highly recommend doing. Final ones, these are enclosures. These are only one of a kind. You will only be able to pick up one long boy enclosure. You will only be able to pick up one L-shaped enclosure. They're all worth 5. Trickier element with it is that all these tiles will fit onto your bits of land perfectly. As example, boom, there you go, test your skills in action, because they're worth 4. Some of these are a little bit longer than 4, which means that you will be able to have some polar bears floating off the edge of the earth, which is not ideal. Which actually brings me onto the symbolisms. Now, this is your starting park. Starting tiles all start with your front entrance, and of course it comes in 2 flavours. You can have this flag or that flag. These are not double-sided, but each starting tile is different. The sides don't matter, they are the same on both sides, but it's the flavour of which one you get. So if you want to play as Japan, you can, or if you want to play as, flags aren't great, it's a Nordic country, I know that, apologies, but their setup is the exact same, as opposed to this one, which is different. Now, these are your symbols that you are aiming to cover, and you might have noticed they actually correspond with the symbols on here. So the green areas are all corresponding with the green wheelbarrow, your houses all with the white cement mixer, and your enclosures all with the orange JCB. Now on your initial one, you don't get an orange JCB. You still have everything else you want, and you also have an extra 2 symbols. You've got your foreman, and you've got a hool. Covering any of these symbols allows you to pick up the corresponding tiles, and if you cover 2 green tiles, green wheelbarrow, sorry, as example there, you could then pick up 2 green tiles. On your turn, you can only ever place 1 tile, and if you are silly enough to set yourself up to have no tiles, you aren't placing any tiles, unfortunately. You pick up as many as you've got, which is very handy, because then if you do cover 1 or 2 little dots, if you've got backup tiles, you know you're not going to end your game real early. The foreman, when you cover them, allow you to pick up from one of the 2 stacks of extra land. Really handy because they actually have the JCBs, but with that, you're only able to have 4 pieces of land in total, including your starting one. So let's say I play my game through and I put some tiles down. You can build your bit of land however you see fit, under the circumstances that all the tiles are oriented the same way. So we could go for the nice square, we could make it a bit of a maze for our visitors, whatever. It'll fit to what you need, especially if you've picked up one of these really obscurely shaped enclosures and you're feeling that you're going to play that there across 3 tiles. Very brave move, would be very good to fit in quite a few gaps as well if you have them. When you've covered every single square on your bit of land, you're then entitled to pick up one of these bear statues. Now again, like with everything else, the bear statues are on an incremental countdown of points. So if you are the first person to cover any piece of land, just one of these, you would then be able to pick up the first bear statue along this line with the highest points. So if you're the fastest, 16, second fastest, 14, third fastest, 12, all the way down to 2. Now the aim of the game is to try and get as many points as you can, and of course the points are shown on the houses and on the enclosures and on the statues. When every single tile is covered, or when no one is able to take a turn, the game ends and you tot up points. Now it seems really straightforward, and it is. It's a really accessible, easy game. Very light on theme, but very heavy on puzzling. And it does become a bit of a rush at the end. There can be a lot of hate drafting, I think it's called, where you pick up something you know full well someone's got because everything is on display. But that's where these objectives come in. They make it so that if you're really comfortably ahead and you just feel like annoying someone, you start picking up tiles. It takes that away because it actually gives something for everyone to strive towards. Again, these are incremented in terms of points that you can earn. I think I've mixed those two, actually, apologies. There we go. So, if you're the first person to complete the objective, you get 10 points, 7 points, 4 points. I think I put those in the wrong order, apologies. But each objective gives you something to aim for. 3 rivers interconnected. If you're not very familiar with this symbol, 3 of the L's in green. 3 enclosures touching, 3 enclosures touching. Really tricky one. But not worth as many points as the rivers. And the reason for that is the rivers aren't actually worth any points if you place them. And the final one, the one that I hate the most because I've never managed to do it in any of the games I've done. 3 roads interconnected in a straight line. Now this has to be the exact same as on the image, one straight line, which means that I could go 3, 6, and then I hit that, I needed one there, and I'm unable to play it. There are lots of different variants of objectives, it's not just those 3. With this all entirely within itself, it's a really fast, really accessible game, but it isn't heavy on theme. If you are looking for that Yogi Bear stealing picnic baskets or bear conservationist game, this isn't it. This is a light on theme, heavy on tactics and puzzling, polyomino placing game. We really enjoy it. We think the component quality is fantastic. Our biggest qualm with this, and it's not a qualm in itself because everything does fit, is that the box has no insert. Everything does fit in here. Everything fits in here really well. It just took us a fair bit of feng shui to get it all in to start with. And to be fair, that's what the game is in its entirety. It is just a very big game of feng shui for points. I'm yet to win a game, but I still keep coming back to this and really enjoying it because there is something that I can learn every time. And my points do keep increasing. Problem with that is my partner's does too. Anyway, hopefully that has been informative. I recommend Barenpark over Patchwork personally because it's got more player count. I know other people prefer Patchwork on the theme alone, but it takes everybody, I guess. Thank you ever so much for listening. Catch you again.